Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Hunter Elliott with rangehot.com. Hope everybody's doing well. And you're probably looking at your computer screen right now going, am I in the right spot? Well, yeah, you are, as a matter of fact. We're going to do something a little bit different. Today, we're going to talk about sharpening a chainsaw. Now, I know that is a huge leap away from what I normally do. It's always firearm-related content. And we're not stopping that. We're still gonna offer all kind of firearms-related content. But today, we're doing something a little bit different because, you know, I've just got so much to give y'all. Is what it is. Now, there's a lot of things about me that is not gun related. There's a lot of other passions that I have in my life, and you know, I felt like I've really developed a pretty good community here on YouTube, and so I want to talk about other things going on in my life. If you don't care, hey, that's cool. Just skip on by, and you know, I'll have some gun videos up here. We're working on a handful right now, Chad and I, but y'all know I love Colt and Dan Wesson 1911s, and I love steel chainsaws equally as well. I mean, serious business. Love chainsaws, love steel chainsaws. When I got a Marine Corps in 96, I logged timber for 5 or 6 years, and I've been in the tree business in some shape or form since about 96, 97, and I bought this steel 066 Magnum 97, 98, and I've had it since then. And it's been a damn good saw, and it has done nothing but just reaffirm to me that if you're gonna buy a chainsaw, I'd buy a daggum steel before I bought anything. But I'm very biased. Y'all know I'm opinionated as hell about guns, and it's equally as bad about chainsaws. It may be worse, because if it ain't a steel, I don't give a damn about it. And don't come to my house with no damn Husqvarna chainsaw. I don't even want to see it. Anyhow, but one of the first questions, you know, a lot of people talk about is if they're getting into tree business, or we're working together and they inadvertently dull their chain. What do? You know, you don't have time to take the chain off and run get it sharpened, or you absolutely don't want to just buy another chain every time you dull it, because, you know, sometimes it just cannot be avoided. I was cutting down a hickory tree the other day here at the house. It was leaning pretty bad, and I was afraid it was going to, you know, hit my house. And so, you know, I cut it down. We got it on the deck. I snaked it out of the woods with my tractor, but the ground was a little soft. And as I did, the bark picked up some dirt. And I had to buck that into manageable pieces, and, you know, there's dirt in the bark. And, you know, you touch dirt with a chainsaw chain, it's going to dull the hell out of it. Or if you're cutting, if you're limbing or bucking or falling or whatever, and you touch the ground or touch anything in that log or whatever, it's going to dull the chain. And I know they make all kind of, you know, little stones you can put on your Dremel tool, and you can sharpen it right up, lickety split. That's great. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere, if you're out in the woods, you ain't got nowhere to plug that damn Dremel tool in. So that's where your 7/32 file comes in. This being a 7/32 file for my 3/8 chain on this 066. However, there are several different size chains, and whatever chain you're running on your saw is going to dictate what kind of file you need to sharpen the teeth. Now, we're going to talk about the rakers. That's just a flat file, don't make no difference. But anyway, hey, look here, y'all. I know the chain's a little loose. I'm going to get to that in a second, but first we're going to talk about sharpening this chain. So, I'm going to get Chad to pop the camera off the tripod. Good job. Oh, and I want you to notice I'm wearing the A1 lawn service hat here. Just make sure you get that in there, so Chad will write me a big old check for promoting his lawn care business. So he's currently stumbling through the pile of wood. All right, so look here, y'all. Now you can see this is a relatively new chain, and if you look right here, this is a guide, and this guide is two things. First, it gives you a pretty good indicator of where the angle of the tooth needs to be, and also when you sharpen this chain and you get here to this guide, okay, y'all, it's time to throw that damn chain away and get you nothing. So you can look right here. I mean, the chain is not, the teeth aren't terrible, but they need what I would call like a little freshening up. And so here's how I do it. Now, you don't have to get all funky and go get you a store-bought handle, though I would recommend putting a handle on your chain. But you're on the daggum, you're in the woods, you got a million handles around there, so just get your little stick there and stobber down there, and it'll be just fine. And very organic, very ergonomic. The folks that drive Priuses will love that. So anyway, so I'll start right here. This is your cutting tooth, and this is your raker or depth tooth. And about every I don't know, 3, 4, 5 sharpenings on a tooth, you need to come back and you need to take some off the raker, what we're going to talk about. So it's just as simple, y'all. You see how I got this file lined up? And now you can hear it. Listen, you can hear how that's cutting. And then in the end, I just, you can take it all the way up. File's only cut one way. If you pull it back that way, not only does it not sharpen, but you'll get this kind of chatter. So I like to just kind of come right here, and I sharpen it until you can kind of see where, if you've dulled that tooth in, you got a little bit of metal flake coming off as you're sharpening it. Oops, sorry, Chad. You can see how that tooth edge is going to get a lot more straighter, a lot sharper. Look here, I mean, it's... Now, when I'm sharpening, I like to hold my file at a little bit of an angle. Not too bad, but just a little bit. So you're sharpening the top of this tooth here, also in the side. And you want to try to keep all your teeth pretty uniform, because if you sharpen one too much on one side or the other, it can cause your saw to cut a little crooked. So when you get done with that, just move on to your next tooth. Every now and again, bang your file on something to get the metal shavings out. And you're right here again. And I mean, that's about all there is to it. All right, so I talked about the rakers. I'm not really in need to take these rakers down because it's only the third time I've sharpened it. But just so you know, now you can buy this really cool little gauge. Look here, man. It sits down there on your tooth, and it gives you an idea where that's supposed to be. Yeah, that's stupid. I would lose that in a heartbeat. I don't care nothing about that. So what I do is I just get you a good flat file with my organic handle, and you just knock the top of that raker off. Now that raker does two things. First of all, it rakes the chips out from the last tooth. So as you're cutting, this is pulling the chips out of the wood, and it's also a depth gauge. As you sharpen this tooth, it becomes shorter. So you also have to take this raker down, or what's going to happen is the raker's going to be running the wood, and you're not going to be getting a really good bite with the tooth. So I did that, and what I would advise doing is, the way I like to do it is I sharpen like this. I sharpen all the teeth on one side, using this little guide, keeping your file at a little bit of an angle, just like that there. And I mean, you can see right there, it's cleaning that tooth up pretty good. Now, see, this one here, this tooth is not in good shape. So I'm gonna, now you'll notice as I'm sharpening it, the face becomes shiny, obviously, and more uniform, and instead of being kind of boogered up, it's going to be a lot straighter. So, and it's just, now you'll notice there's an odd number of teeth on this chain. This is called a full skip chain, and if I remember correctly, a full skip chain runs about half the normal amount of cutting teeth. And the reason I like it is, well, it takes half the time to sharpen when you do dull it, but also a full skip chain is also going to cut a lot faster because you got less teeth. Now this 066, it's making 8 horsepower. I don't know how much torque, give or take. So it's got enough ooey to pull that chain through hard wood. But when you run a skip chain, it's going to cut faster. It's not going to try to bog the saw down. So if you're running a little bit smaller saw, you may want to run a skip chain. Be advised though that there's all kind of problems with people running chainsaws. You get kickback, which is when you're running the saw and you hit something and that damn saw comes after your face like that. Now, fortunately, these new saws got chain brakes on them. So, the way that works is, do a little demo here. You're running the saw, you know what you're doing. You hit the nose into something along there, and this thing is going to come back and it's going to bifurcate your face. Then that, ideally, the chain brake stop by your forearm, and instead of cutting you in half, it might just give you a little kiss, which a little kiss would suck, but again, better than bifurcating your brain housing group. Bifurcating your brain housing group, man, that'd be a cool bumper sticker. So anyway, it's just kind of one of these deals. Now, I'm a little weird. I like to stand this would be called perpendicular. I like to stand perpendicular to my chain. Now I know I got safety glasses on, but I don't normally wear safety glasses when I sharpen a chain, but these are my SSP eyewears, and what I've done is I've swapped in the lenses, so my bottom third is actually bifocals. So I'm getting a little bit of magnification because I'm old, and this helps me get it done right. And just kind of keep going until you've got every one of your teeth sharp. And you get all this side done. For the sake of argument, I'm just going to show you, but you're not going to be able to see a good deal. It's kind of like when I clean a gun, I say, let's just assume I've cleaned it. Let's just assume I've sharpened all these teeth. I will get back around to sharpening them. I actually get like this when I sharpen this side. So I kind of sharpen my chainsaw teeth a little weird, but that's okay. Now I'm going to get these sharpened up. This side is actually not too bad, but as you're running your saw, you run a day or half a day, even if you haven't stuck it into dirt or anything stupid. If you got a minute, it doesn't hurt to kind of dress the teeth. Run what I call a maintenance sharp over there. Like, hey, I got a few minutes, we're waiting on the skidder or waiting on the roach coach or whatever to bring you your food. Then just take a few minutes, 3 or 4 strokes. Like this side here is in pretty good shape. The key to sharpening a chain is make sure the chainsaw is not running, because if it's running and the chain is just spinning wide open, that was probably a poor attempt at a joke. Safety first, Hunter Lee. So anyway, once you get it all good and sharp like you think you want, there's a couple good ways to indicate you've done a good job, and there's a lot of ways to indicate you've done a poor job. When you set it in the wood and it's cutting and pulling good and it's kicking out some damn, chips as big as your thumbnail and it's pulling right straight through, hey, that's probably done right. But if you sink it in that wood and it's either binding or whatever, or it's just kicking out powder, it's going to look like talc powder coming out, then something is not adjusted correctly. Now you also, I run my chains a little loose, but normally, once you get done, let's just pretend I'm going to sharpen this whole thing, y'all, but let's just pretend I've got this whole thing sharp. Then, I get here and I eyeball it, and, you can see the chain's a little loose. So I'm going to turn this saw around so y'all can kind of see where I'm at with it. Steel has got a beautiful way of sharpening, has got a really beautiful way of tightening their chains. So you get your old saw wrench here. Now you notice when I loosen this, your bar is going to drop a little bit, and that's fine. See how it fell down like that? So it's going to be a little awkward, but I'm going to show you. So when you tighten it, you want to make sure the bar is all the way up. See all that deflection I've got? Pull the bar all the way up. You got a little slot in here, and as you tighten it, what this actually doing is pushing the bar out a little bit. Now that's how I like it. You get it, make sure you see, check out where I'm pulling up on this. So yeah, I still got a lot of deflection. So set your chain tension with the chain pulled up like that. Pop it a couple times. It should be taut, but not too tight. And then snug her down. Now, chain brake off. You should be able to pull that nice and easy, but no sagging. That's how I like to run my chain. Some people say I run mine a little loose. I guess that's just how it is. So that's how I like to run it. And I'm going to do a little demo real quick. I'm going to get this. Obviously, I haven't sharpened it, so we're going to do, by the magic of video editing, I'm going to just run this real quick, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like with a good sharp chain. All right, y'all. So I got both sides sharp. I hit the rakers just a little bit. This is hickory, and it's only been down a few weeks, so this is hard as a brick bat. Let's see how she does. If it's cold, let it warm up a little bit before you start. Can you hear me, Chad? When you start it, give it a minute or two, let it idle. Let that edge, the jug get hot. The saw's run a little bit today, so it's already kind of warm. You see that chain skipping? I like to run out a little loose. Don't do that. That's how I like to run it. Boy, that's a cutting bastard. But here, come here and check this out, Chad. You see these chips? Those are good. I mean, look how they're big as your damn fingernail. You can see them on my boots. That's what you're looking for. Big chips like that. That chip should be about as wide as your tooth. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about how chainsaw chains works and all that sort of stuff. But that is basically how to sharpen a chainsaw chain. You know, remember where that guide is, get you the right size file, match that angle as far as this angle on the tooth, and just watch as you're sharpening to keep a really good, clean, sharp edge. And I mean, now this is not big wood, but it is hard hickory. If I had done something wrong, it wouldn't have just pulled right through that wood. Now I'm cheating a little bit because I'm running a badass steel chainsaw, but it shows me that I did that job right. It's big chips cut through that hickory, no problem. It cut straight and flat. It didn't. Now you heard me bog a little bit. I got a little bit greedy on my bucking dog and I bogged it down just a cat hair, but I mean, that just happens. So anyway, there's a lot more we're going to talk about. I want to talk about, like, we're not getting into it right now, but what's kind of coming up is, you see a lot of people on the job, they got their bar upside down. Why do people run their chainsaw bars upside down? We're going to talk about that. Talk about making sure your chain is oiling correctly. What kind of mix do you run? What kind of ratio do you run? All that sort of stuff. Maintaining your saw. So anyway, I would appreciate feedback. You know, I'm not going to do a long article on rangehot.com. I'm going to upload this video. Everybody watches my gun content. Chime in, let me know what you think. Was this cool? Did it suck? Did you not enjoy it? If you do think this is cool, a good idea, an addition to Range Hot, then let me know that too, because I got ideas about talking about, you know, what kind of work boots that I like to run, that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm rambling, so Chad's telling me I'm talking too long. So let me know what you think, good, bad, right, or wrong. I appreciate feedback. I hope this works out. So anyway, look here, y'all take care of yourselves and each other. If you're looking to buy you a chainsaw, get her damn steel, or don't get a saw.